sunshine on the horizon there as we're starting to get things up and running for our Monday. And temperatures that are sitting near the 40-degree mark, 36. It's cooled a little bit here as we've started things off with a bit of a breeze. So it is still March. You want the jacket early on. You're not going to need it very far into the day, though. We'll warm things up pretty quickly. Note that dew point. That's pretty low. Some dry air that's in place. And as the day goes on, we'll take those 30s and turn them into a high near 80 degrees. If you're keeping score at home, the record's 84. I don't think we're quite going to get that far, but it's close enough to talk about it. That's a nice day that we see a lot of sunshine that we're going to have. We're also going to have some wind alongside that. It's part of the reason we drive that temperature up. We'll have that out of the southwest as we get later this morning. We'll start getting some gusts that get to about 30 miles per hour or so. We'll back that off as we head into the nighttime hours, but while we have it, that's about the worst thing as far as the day goes, is a bit of a pesky wind that also, when you start thinking about how dry things are, will increase the fire risk. So red flag warning in place for the entire area. It's another one of those days where anything that sparks up could spread pretty quickly with that wind being in place. So keep that in mind as we head through the rest of our day today. But again, 80 degrees for St. Patrick's Day. That is a wonderful forecast that we have on the way. A lot of sunshine. Tomorrow's not bad either. Tomorrow's kind of getting lost in the shuffle because we get to near 80 for today, and we've got our busy Wednesday that's coming up, and we'll touch on Wednesday in just a moment. But tomorrow looks pretty nice. Lighter winds, mid-70s for the high. More cloud cover as the day goes on. Yes, that's a chance for thunder showers overnight. And as we get into our Wednesday, we have a first alert 6 weather day in place. Things are going to get busy once again for us. Here we go.
Here we go.
We've done this show a couple times lately, right? With this strong storm system that brings some sudden changes.
Oh, especially because we're having such a nice day today, and then we have such a drastic shift. Okay, so what should people know, especially for that morning commute?
Yeah, it's really something you need to pay close attention to because the changes start kicking in as the commute is happening. Yeah. So let's take a look at how things go with this. It's a system that's going to bring us some snow falling, and that changeover to snow takes place about the 7 to 9 a.m. time frame. And once it switches over, it could come down at a decent clip too. So you want to watch for that. We could be picking up some decent accumulations out of this. And we'll also, not just the snow, it's the wind too. Gusts that get up around 60 miles per hour as the snow's falling, and that could create some whiteout conditions. So let's start off with what we have after midnight Tuesday night. And a couple of spotty showers, could get a rumble or two of thunder alongside this. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if anything tries to get feisty. But at this point, I think we should keep that at bay. As we get toward the morning, though, you can see the change already taking place off to the west of the metro, Norfolk, Columbus. You're seeing snow falling as we're starting to get toward the 5 a.m. time frame. And you'll notice the pinks and the blues get really close to the metro as we get toward about 7 a.m. And that means as that's taking place, we're starting to get a mixture taking place, and we eventually go to all snow in the metro. And notice how deep those colors are, deep blues, purples, as we go late in the morning, all the way into the early afternoon, still seeing it coming down at a good clip, a heavy, wet snow that we're talking about. It does start to fade off as we get toward about 4 o'clock, but evening commute travel is still going to be pretty rough as we're seeing temperatures that are near the freezing mark as that is wrapping up. So not going to see a lot of melting after maybe initially a quick time frame where it melts. It'll start sticking, and 3 to 6 inches is what we're talking about for the metro out of this round of snow. That's the case not just for the metro, but for much of the viewing area. And the amounts do drop off some as you head off to the south, but most of us are in that same boat of getting 3 to 6 inches out of this. And again, it's not just the snow, it's also the wind that's the factor. That starts to pick up as we get toward about 4 a.m. or so in the metro, but look at how much it ramps up as we get into the morning commute. We're seeing 40 to 50 mile per hour gusts. Keep in mind, this is the time frame as we're switching to snow. And then as we go through into the midday, there are those gusts approaching 60 miles per hour, the north to northwest. We keep those going through the afternoon. And then we don't really get improvement on that until we get past sunset for our Wednesday. So that does mean the evening commute will be affected on Wednesday as well. So that's the reason we're giving you that first alert. So you can start thinking about trying not to travel on Wednesday because it's going to be pretty sketchy trying to get where you are trying to get to on Wednesday. First day of spring's Thursday, by the way.
Oh, yay.
Not exactly the most fitting, but it does kick in a little bit of a steadier pattern after that. 40s for our Thursday, and then things a little less busy as we go through the rest of that 10-day with some 50s for highs and just a couple minor chances for some rain. So as we go through that stretch, that will be something we can appreciate. Maybe it's not 80 degrees and sunny, but it's definitely going to be a calmer forecast.
Yeah.
So we are looking at, this is what we're looking at taking place.
Hello!
It's St. Patrick's Day. Felt like doing a little dance for you. But we'll appreciate that calmer weather that's going to be in place.
Yeah, that storm reminds me a lot of the last one we had with the whiteout conditions possible too. All right, for now, the weather is calm. How is traffic looking?
Also pretty calm.
Also calm.
We got a couple things I'm watching, but for the most part, it's going pretty well as we're starting off our day. So let's talk about what to expect. And it is a morning where we are talking about seeing things get a little bit quieter as far as the amount of vehicles that are on the roadway. And the reason for that, there's a lot of spring break that's happening. OPS, Elkhorn, Bellevue, just a few of the districts that have that taking place. So they may still be asleep and seeing the dark at this point, but a lot of the roads are looking pretty quiet. If you are amongst those who are starting to drive at this point, watch the sun glare if you're heading eastbound. It's another morning where that could be a factor for us. I've also been watching the exit ramp from I-80 westbound to go to 144th. It's been backing up at times and getting onto the interstate. Right now it looks okay. The ramp is certainly backed up though, so keep an eye out for that. If you're going to that right lane, as you're going westbound on I-80, that could be backed up in that area. Mostly, though, looking pretty good. Little slowdown as you're making your way along Highway 6 in Gretna, as you're heading northbound particularly, but a lot of our roads are looking pretty good. Not too much in the way of issues, and hopefully we can keep that as the case as we continue to make our way through this morning drive and enjoy maybe a nice St. Patrick's Day. Do keep an eye out. I've already seen on our NDOT cameras a couple people get pulled over this morning.
Yeah.
So they're out there.
They have been warning you. There are extra patrol people out and about to catch all those offenders who are driving impaired.
Yep.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Jared, thank you so much.
Well, this morning, police are searching for a suspect in a high school burglary. The Fremont County Sheriff's Office posted these photos of the person or the incident. It happened Saturday morning at Sydney High School. Now, investigators are searching for anybody who may have seen anybody suspicious in the area between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. Anybody with any information is urged to contact the Sheriff's Office.
A man is behind bars this morning charged in a shooting in North Omaha. This happened at the Florence Tower. Police say they found a woman with a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. About an hour later, officers found 36-year-old Jonathan Maynard near 37th and Paxton. He faces several charges, including first-degree assault.
An update to a story that we broke last Friday. Bellevue police have released the name of the man arrested in a deadly shooting. He is 23-year-old Christian Lara. BPD says that Lara and 21-year-old George Negrete were fighting at an apartment near Englewood Drive and Galvin Road when Lara shot Negrete in the leg. He later died at the hospital. A woman was also assaulted in that fight.
All right, we're here at the safety desk now with Maria Caden. Maria, this is a hard number to believe, but 90,000 Americans are in need of a kidney transplant right now?
A lot of people, and unfortunately not all of them are going to hear their name called to get off that list. And experts say that some misconceptions are actually discouraging a lot of potential donors to get on that list, and right now they're working to really dispel those myths. So one of those myths is that living kidney donors have to have perfect health. Well, they say that is false, and they need to be generally healthy, but donors can potentially have controlled high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes. The second one, people over age 50 can't be a living donor. Well, they say there is no age limit. Donors just have to be 18 years or older. The third is that you have to be related to be a match, but there are two friends who we want to tell you about that are living proof it's not true.
We didn't know it, 35 years ago when both of our mothers were pregnant, that this would be our story.
Now that was Megan talking. You see her and her friend Regina there. They were confirmed as matches when Regina was in need of a transplant, but that was just more than a year ago. And now in the present day, after the transplant, both friends are doing really well.
I love that.
I know,
That's
it's really
inspiration. All right, moving on. There's a new recall that coffee drinkers definitely need to know about this morning.
Yeah, this is for the International Delight Creamers. So if you use those for your coffee, you're going to want to listen up to this. It's going to impact you. So the FDA is removing more than 75,000 bottles of these off the shelves. It's primarily impacting the hazelnut and Cinnabon Classic cinnamon roll flavored creamers that are affected. And with those flavors, if you do have them, you should throw them out immediately. The FDA says the parent company of the brand put this recall in place after getting some complaints about them being spoiled. They're also unfortunately getting some reports of illnesses, so you definitely want to throw these out immediately. Right now, though, there is not any word on how many people are sick, just that it is impacting people.
Yeah, that's a common brand too.
For sure.
All right. Thanks for all the information this morning, Maria. Thank you. And we will be right back after this short break.
All right, welcome back. Time now 7:14 on this Monday morning. Taking a live look outside. Sun is coming up on what's going to be a very warm day, of course, right before we have a pretty brutal first alert day. We're going to get to that in just a moment. Of course, we're decked out in green for St. Patty's Day, and we're feeling pretty lucky with these temperatures.
What a great forecast. Great way to start off the work week.
I know.
The holiday
In a
is
good mood.
looking good.
Outside of the people will be outside of the bars too.
Yeah, it's going to be the kind of day where you take your Irish drink of choice and take it out on the patio because it looks great for it. We're up into the 70s for much of the afternoon. We'll likely peak right around 80 by the time it's all said and done with the breeze. So if you are doing that, make sure if you have napkins, you're keeping them trapped down because they could blow away with that kind of weather. But a lot of sunshine that's going to be in place. Not quite to record territory, but close enough to talk about it, right? 84 is the record from 2012. Looks like 80 is where we land. So a very warm day for March 17th standards. Once we go through the afternoon, you're going to see those gusts continue, but they'll come down as we get into the nighttime hours. And we'll look at calmer winds in place for our Tuesday as well. Just know it's going to be a little on the breezy side, a little pesky as we go through the afternoon today. Look at what's going on here. Our graphic is maybe unintentionally celebrating St. Patrick's Day here with all the different temperatures that are going on. You've got 80 for today, 70s for our Tuesday. We've got 50s by Friday, 40s Thursday, 30s for our Wednesday. You get that kind of volatility going on. That's a sign that you have a strong storm system that's coming through your area, and that's exactly the case for Wednesday. That's why we have that first alert 6 weather day in place with the snow changeover happening right in the commute and the wind gusts picking up right around that time frame as well. So let's walk through it one more time, kind of give you a sense of how things play out. Maybe a couple thunder showers that will be met around as we get past midnight for Tuesday night. And you can see that changeover already starting to take place as we get into the early morning hours to the northwest of the metro. You'll see the temperatures continue to drift downward as we get toward the morning commute. And so at first we may melt a little bit of the snow as we'll have temperatures right near 40 degrees or so in the early going in the metro, but as we continue to pick that up, that will overcome that and we'll continue to drop the temperatures off. We'll actually spend most of the day near the freezing mark, and so we'll be seeing that stick and accumulate as the day goes on. Also get blown around with those strong winds. Pretty good clip at which it's falling all the way until we get toward the late afternoon hours. So once again, 3 to 6 inches. What it's looking like for our totals in the metro. We'll continue to fine tune this over the next couple days, of course. A little bit less off to the south, but most of us are are in that same boat of getting 3 to 6 inches that fall while the wind is getting very blustery. Picking up early in the morning, there you can see those wind gusts just really taking off. This is the kind of scenario where you're again talking about, like we've dealt with at times over the last couple of weeks, seeing maybe outdoor furniture getting blown around. The chance that you maybe even get the power flickering a little bit as we get some of those gusts up around 60 miles per hour. And of course the most direct impact, that blowing the snow around as it's falling, causing whiteout conditions into the afternoon. Evening commute's still likely going to be pretty rough, even as we get the snow coming to a close late in the afternoon. So you start looking ahead beyond that. First day spring Thursday, we just start to recover a little bit. We're talking about some 40s for our temperatures there and 50s for our Friday. As we mentioned, we've got a little bit of everything temperature-wise through that entire stretch.
30s, 40s, 50s. Okay, so we keep having this winter weather just coming back, right? Every time we think we're done. When do you think this is all just going to calm down a little for us?
Yeah, let's stop rocking the boat a little bit as far as the forecast goes. And thankfully, once I click this button, it's that easy. Look, 50s, 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 60 degrees for our Tuesday. And not much in the way of precip right now either. A couple chances we maybe have a couple of showers that clip the area as we go Friday, late Sunday. Nothing at this point, though, out of those rounds is looking like it has a lot of punch to it. And that's some good news. Hopefully we can calm things down, give us a sense to kind of take a deep breath after all these different rounds of strong storm systems that have been making their way in, and maybe we can get our way into a quiet close to the month of March.
So all we needed was the click of a button.
Who knew? It's just that simple.
So you do control the weather. Okay.
Once we get over the hump, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Past Thursday.
Yeah, we get past Thursday, it's really looking like a nice weekend to get out and about.
Okay.
Jarrett, thank you. Well, happening today, early ballots start going out for the Omaha City primary. The Douglas County elections team will mail out about 50,000 of them. Today also marks the first day of in-person voting. You can only vote early and in person at the Douglas County Election Commissioner's headquarters. That's at 122nd and West Center. Voting is open from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The primary is set for April 1st.
Also happening today, of course, St. Patty's Day, and while everybody, or not everybody, many people are out celebrating, the Nebraska State Patrol, they do want you to remember to have safe driving practices.
That's right. NSP received a grant from MDOT. It allows them to ramp up their patrol efforts for the holiday. Lieutenant Michael Cordy says the increase in patrol is needed.
There's always, a need for us to be out there on the road, whether it be calls for service or extra people on the roadway. We're getting to the time of year where, the weather's getting better, obviously. People are traveling more. There's people celebrating not only St. Patrick's Day, state basketball. People are traveling, going to birthday parties, going to all sorts of things.
Yeah, be ever so careful. Cordy says they will never turn down having extra troopers on the road.
Basketball is heading to the big dance for the first time in program history. The 15-seed Mavericks begin their journey in Providence, Rhode Island, where they'll take on St. John's Thursday night. The Red Storm coming off beating Creighton in the Big East Tournament final. Speaking of the Blue Jays, they're heading to Lexington, Kentucky to play Louisville in the 8-9 matchup. That's on Thursday morning. Well, Creighton, of course, no stranger to playing in March. The Jays will be making their 26th tournament appearance.
They were one of the first teams announced Sunday. They earned the 9 seed in the South region. They'll take on former Bell West star Chucky Hepburn and the 8 seed Louisville.
Obviously very excited to be back in the tournament. I've been doing this long enough and see and witness the pain of some of my colleagues that don't get in the tournament or just missing out by being one of the first teams out. And so you have to celebrate when it happens. It's hard. It's been certainly an uphill climb for us.
It's definitely a little more rewarding when you have to go through a little more adversity to get to this point. But honestly, it's just been a blast being a part of this team.
Congratulations to the Creighton women and Nebraska women for making the women's field of 68 as well. Coming up, St. Patrick's Day fun around the country.
Our thoughts on how some states are celebrating when we come back.
Well, of course, as you can tell, today is St. Patrick's Day.
What? Okay, communities all around the world are celebrating and donning their best green, white, even orange. The party is bumping in Dublin. Take a live look at the scene there. It's around 12:30 p.m. now. Oh, looks like a lot of fun. Of course, last week at Omaha at its annual St. Patty's Day fun.
Yeah, but celebrations kicked off in many other cities around the country over the weekend. In Boston, for example, hundreds of thousands of people lined the streets for the 122nd annual St. Patrick's Day celebration. Groups of people decked out in their green parade floats. Marchers wound through neighborhoods. Fans appreciated it. Neighbors of South Boston, a center of Irish American heritage in a city where more than 1 in every 5 people are of Irish descent.
I believe it. In Pennsylvania, the 255th annual Philadelphia St. Patrick's Day Parade marched through the streets with pride. Everybody celebrated throughout Center City, leading up to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. The parade is the second oldest in the country. Chicago, they also always have a great tradition. They always dye the big river green. That's always fantastic. Now, I'm Irish. Is anybody here also very Irish?
Yeah, I've got some Irish. If I grew my facial hair out, you would see it.
My name is Ireland, so you couldn't tell. Anyone else know?
Just a little bit.
A little bit?
None for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, enjoy the holiday. Be safe. We're going to get ready for our update in the Today Show. You can watch it here on streaming or over the air.
Have a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Live from WOWT, First Alert 6 starts now.
Good Monday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Hartley. Let's get an update on the traffic conditions. Pretty quiet so far, Jarrett.
Yeah, we do have a lot of school districts that are in spring break this week, and that's helping to contribute to the quiet conditions. But thankfully, we're not really seeing any other issues popping up at this point. Picking up the traffic for sure, 90th and West Dodge. And we've had the occasional delay showing up as you try to exit from westbound I-80 to 144th. Just a tad slow there, but it has improved as we've made our way through the last 15 minutes or so. Do watch the eastbound roads. I think the sun glare could be a factor once again as you're heading out, especially over the next hour or so. But for the most part, not really much in the way of problems. And that also extends to the forecast for today. We start talking about where things are heading. Look at that beautiful sunrise that we have as we look from our children's Nebraska camera. Sitting in the 30s right now. It's still a little chilly in the early going. Feels like 28, but that's not going to last very long today. We'll have a quick recovery from these kind of temperatures and send our temperature up all the way to near 80 by the time it's all said and done. And that's partially thanks to the southwest wind that kicks in. Some gusts to get up around 30 miles per hour through the afternoon hours. That will increase the fire risk. Keep that in mind. If you have anything that could potentially spark up a fire, it could quickly get out of hand today. But that's the only real negative today. 80, sunshine, mid-70s and sunshine for tomorrow. Then we've got our next First Alert 6 weather day. Things pick up in a hurry Wednesday with snow starting around the morning commute, continuing much of the day with gusts up to 60 miles per hour.
All right, in the meantime, a man has been charged in a shooting at Florence Tower. Police say they found a woman with a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 36-year-old Jonathan Maynard now faces several charges, including first-degree assault.
All right, everybody, it is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. We'll see you then.